You know, John, you made quite a point of the fact that that Jesus was compassionate. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned how the human race deals with harassment and helplessness.
Right.
And
right.
you pointed out how Jesus was so sensitive to reach out to people and show his concern and compassion. What are some practical things that you might suggest that we could do today? Because I'm sure we encounter people too, our neighbors and associates, who also deal with harassment and with feeling helpless.
Yeah.
In fact, yesterday as I walked out of the service, I was talking to somebody who has just lost a spouse. And I said, do you feel a little harassed and helpless? And she said, yes, I sure do.
Yeah.
What do we say to people like that?
Well, first of all, I don't know that I'm the right person to ask because I don't know that I get it right. It is so hard because the people around us are harassed and helpless, and we unpacked what those words mean, and as I look at them, it's so much stronger than just that little phrase that we put together, harassed and helpless. You know, to be worn out and thrown down, to be utterly immobilized because of what we are going through. And so I think we need to be able to do a couple of things. I think one is, as we look at the people around us, we need to see people with the same eyes that Jesus saw them. Mm-hmm. You know, and we pointed out that there seems to be a difference between how Jesus saw the people and how the disciples saw the people. That it says that Jesus is moved by compassion, and I need to be able to be broken by the same things that break God's heart. That as I look at someone, I need to recognize that person is not just someone who is an annoyance to me, or is causing me an inconvenience, or makes me feel uncomfortable, but that they are someone who is genuinely hurting, and to allow myself to be moved by compassion. I think the other thing is that we need to realize that a lot of times we're the ones who are harassed and helpless, that we are the ones who are suffering. And that God ministers to us and helps us through those times. And I think one of the key reasons that he does that is because he then desires for us to come alongside of others. You know, I think one of the most important passages for us to remember in light of this is 2 Corinthians chapter 1, where Paul, as he starts off, he says something along the lines of, now may the God of all comfort you in all of your afflictions, so that you may comfort others with the same comfort with which you've been comforted. Yeah. And as you expand that passage out, you know, I think he uses the word afflictions 3 times. And he uses the word comfort or comforted like 8 or 9 times. And we have to recognize the comfort that God has brought to us. And then realize that it's not just about him comforting us. I mean, we love to experience his grace and his mercy and his comfort and his healing in our lives. But his desire then is for us to display that same comfort to the people around us who are harassed and helpless. And when we understand that dynamic, I think we are more motivated to reach out and to help people. In terms of practical steps, you know, that's going to depend on the situation. But I think if we can get those 2 steps right, we're taking a huge step in the right direction to be able then to meet some needs really practically.
I have a friend who uses that 2 Corinthians 1 verse about all the comforts that you mentioned as his theme. His daughter made some very bad choices in terms of drug use. And out of that came a ministry, and it's based on that concept in 2 Corinthians.
Yeah, it is so crucial for us.
One of the things that has irritated me about the disciples showed up, the disciples had a theological debate.
Yeah.
And then they said, who sinned? He, his parents, or what happened?
Yeah.
But of Jesus, it said, he saw a man blind from birth. The disciples apparently didn't see.
Right.
They just thought here was a good topic for some theological debate. which
and-
wasn't particularly helpful.
And I've always thought the guy sitting there, and he's like, guys, I can hear you. You know, I'm blind, I'm not deaf.
That's right.
I'm right here.
Right.
So, yeah,
Well, to be like Jesus,
Yes.
that would be our goal.
yeah, absolutely.